Month of October is Fire Prevention Month. The members of Darby 1 will be out doing several fire prevention events and open houses. We'll be doing Colin Elementary School, Joshua Tree Preschool, Walnut Street School, Children's Gardens Daycare, Park Lane School, Goodwill Fire Company's open house, Yaden Fire Company's open house, and Prospect Park's open house. Darby 1 will also be participating in the Red Ribbon Walk with the Park Lane School later this month. We're very happy about that. Daylight savings times will be ending Sunday, November 4th, and everyone is reminded that it's a good time to change their batteries and their smoke detectors. I'd like to go back to June when I brought to council how we took 5 members from the Darby Fire Patrol joined our firehouse due to their unhappiness. And since then, we've noticed a very steep decline in their response times and their participation within activities and fire responses. We calculated the amount of calls in Darby and Colwyn because we're both the recognized organizations for both towns. The numbers show the calls that were dispatched, how many were responded to, how many were delayed responses, and how many they just didn't show up at all. The breakdowns are total 146 calls. They had 102 no responses, 22 calls with a response time under 6 minutes, 18 calls with a response time over 6 minutes, and 4 calls that they acknowledged but they just didn't show up and their reasons are unknown. I'd like to remind the council the things that Darby 1 does, that we do the job for both fire companies on a consistent basis, and we take our job serious and work diligently to provide the very best service to the borough residents and visitors possible. I'd like to highlight some of the things that we've done to achieve that. Excuse me. Received a silver accreditation certification from the PA State Fire Commissioner's Office, which is 75% of our active firefighters meet the national recognition for fire training. The actual number is in the upper 80%. The best that we can do is 100%, which is a gold standard, but that's mainly held to the career departments because they go through the accredited fire academies. We also commit to the weekly training that's in-house every Tuesday night, starting at 7 p.m. and ending at 9:30, 10 o'clock, depending on the activity. Our average number of responders per call reflects the certified firefighters, not just the members that show up for the call. Back earlier this year, we purchased a 100-foot ladder truck because the ladder truck from Darby 2 was not always available during calls. We need to rely on ladder trucks from Yaden and Collingdale, and we felt having our own would lessen that burden put on Yaden and Collingdale. To highlight that, most recently was the Brantford Road fire. Our engine responded within several minutes. Reports trapped occupant was upstairs in his bedroom. For that, our crews divided themselves up in half. One gentleman carried a ladder to the rear, extended it to the 3rd floor window because the rear of the park is 3 stories. Climbed the ladder, found the occupant that was trapped. The occupant implied that he wasn't coming out and may or may not have had a weapon. At that point, our member retreated. At the same time, the crew was entering the building to try to put out that fire, and I'm sure people have seen the pictures. It was pretty intense fire, and while they were in the process of putting that out, they heard the calls from the assistant chief to evacuate the building, and at that point, Yaden was showing up with their ladder truck, which would have been their function to do the search and rescue while our company affected the fire attack. So having our own ladder truck and not relying on one to come from several miles away is more beneficial to us as the fire companies and everyone who are the taxpayers in Darby. We also acquired a federal grant through FEMA to recruit and retain members. The grant will allow us to advertise on social media, provide us with lawn signs asking members to join, or asking people to join, and a stipend for our current members. Members can sign up in blocks for a predetermined amount of time, and at the end of that time, they'll be given a stipend for those hours. This will translate into having members in the firehouse around the clock ready to respond to calls within the borough and the surrounding communities. This grant is at no cost to the taxpayers of Darby. And lastly, one more thing, we're in final stages to construct 12 individual bunk rooms to accommodate our members so that they can spend the night at the firehouse to eliminate the need for responding from home. Lastly, I'd like to ask the members of council to recognize Darby Fire Company #1 as the sole fire company in emergency medical services for Darby Borough because of the inconsistencies highlighted in this report, Darby Fire Patrol #2. Best regards, Christopher M. Caruso, Chief of Darby Fire Company #1.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, council, we have heard the report, we've heard the concerns. This is not the first time that we have heard concerns. I don't know if you want to have a discussion in executive session after our meeting to go into further detail with the chief, or handle it now. What is your pleasure? Mr. Blackson?
Executive session.
Mr. Okay, thank you. We'll do that. Chief?
Thank you.
Mr. Hayes is not here.